Welcome to the C-SOLO operational tutorial by CNC Packaging. In this video, we'll guide you through setup, operation, cleaning, maintenance, and troubleshooting, so you can get the best results while keeping your machine safe and reliable. Before operating, always remember, trained operators only. Wear eye protection, tie back long hair, and avoid loose clothing. Disconnect the power and air before making adjustments or maintenance. Use only kosher, food-grade ethanol for cleaning, and never use isopropyl alcohol. Inside your C-SOLO shipping box, you'll find the control box, machine assembly, foot pedal, and welcome bag. Your welcome bag also includes an airline, power cord, dual needle adapter kit, assortment of wrenches, needles, and a backup C-SOLO consumable parts kit. The backup consumables bag comes with all the pertinent parts for any routine maintenance needed. Place the machine on a stable and clean surface. Connect the color-coded hoses to the fittings in the back of the control box indicated by the hose color. Push-to-connect fittings allow for easy connection and disconnection of hoses by inserting the hose into the fitting. To disconnect, push the hose into the fitting, then press on the surface that acts like a button and pull on the hose. You'll also need a scale, assorted size beakers, ethanol squirt bottle for cleaning, and a heat gun for production. The control box is the hub of the C-SOLO. It houses the temperature controllers, the air purge, and the manual inject valve. The syringe assembly includes a luer lock needle adapter, a syringe block, a spacer block, speed controls, an injection cylinder, and a shroud. The volumetric stop block, with its locking nut and adjustment bolt, sets your fill volume, and the manual plunger allows manual operation. The shroud lid protects you from the heated vessel. The vessel has a sanitary flange and a lid with a gasket. The stand is height adjustable with a wing nut for operator comfort. The foot pedal provides hands-free control of filling. Before filling, set the recommended temperature settings on your temp controllers. To adjust the temp controllers, first push the set button and the up or down arrows to change the temp. Once your desired temperature is chosen, push the set button a second time and the machine will adjust to those new settings. While you wait for the temps to adjust, double check that your compressor is on, your air is connected, and the vessel is ready to be loaded with oil. The temps in this example are reasonable starting points but can vary depending on the needs of your oil. We use 16 gauge needles in this demonstration. Begin by placing a beaker under the injection needle, then turn on the air purge. Turn up the air purge pressure dial, press the injection pedal until the syringe cylinder is in the down position. Next, let go of the injection pedal and pause for 3 to 4 seconds, then repeat this step until the sputtering sound stops. When the sputtering sound stops, turn the air purge switch off. Place a beaker on your scale and tare it. Dispense the first injection. Read the weight. Then adjust the volumetric bolt as needed. Next, tighten the adjustment nut to lock in the volume setting. Once your test fill weights are accurate, test it 3 more times for consistency. For a quality check, perform a test fill to ensure the volume fills the cartridge completely. During production, use smooth, consistent pedal presses for filling. Count the units as you go and refill the vessel before it runs low. If your vessel runs out of oil, you'll need to refill it, do another air purge, and test for fill accuracy. If a partial fill occurs, use the manual fill valve and plunger to complete the unit. During pauses, remember, needles cool quickly. Use a heat gun to keep them flowing. An easy heat gun procedure is turning on the heat gun, pointing it directly at the needle for 3 to 5 seconds. This will rewarm the oil inside of the needle and allow it to start flowing smoothly again. Make sure the power is off before cleaning the system with ethanol. Cleaning is essential for performance and product integrity. Rinse the vessel with ethanol 4 to 6 times until the liquid runs clear. On your first ethanol purge, you may need to push the foot pedal a couple of times for the ethanol to start flowing. Use a large beaker to better contain splashing and vapor. To prevent messes further, start with your air purge pressure below 10 psi on the first rinse. Here's an example of purge pressure when it's too high. Here's an example of pressure when it's reasonable. After the third or fourth rinse, empty the dirty ethanol in the beaker and run another purge to see how clear the ethanol is. Always finish by running the air purge 3 to 5 minutes to evaporate any remaining ethanol. The plunger O-ring lasts anywhere between 30 to 50,000 units. When the plunger O-ring starts to fail, you will notice that your volumes start to become more and more inconsistent, or you may notice oil coming out of the spacer block. To access the plunger O-ring, loosen the 2 assembly bolts fastened into the volumetric stop block. Then pull the syringe tree off the syringe block. Remove the plunger O-ring with a small flathead screwdriver, tweezers, or cut it off with a razor. Slide a new O-ring on and reassemble the syringe tree. Once your bolts and syringe tree are ready to be fastened back onto the syringe block, start by turning the bolt in reverse to align the threads, which is indicated by a hop with a slight clicking sound. When you feel the bolt hop, start tightening the bolt. If you feel any resistance, do not force and keep tightening the bolt, as this could potentially cross-thread the bolt, resulting in a need for a new syringe block. If you're still having issues with your machine, clogs can occur in the syringe block and the vessel screen. Once you take the syringe block apart, inspect the internal check valve, which is the spring and ball bearing, for any fibers or particles. Clean all the pieces with ethanol. Using a Q-tip or a rag soaked in ethanol, clean the port inside of the check valve. Clean the port inside of the syringe block as well with ethanol. It's also a good idea to replace the internal O-rings for good measure. Once the syringe block and the check valve pieces are cleaned, reassemble your syringe. When fastening the bolts on the syringe blocks, keep them all somewhat loose to make it easier for all the bolts to fit in their places. Once all bolts are threaded, proceed to tighten them until snug. Do not over-tighten, as this can cause the bolts to gall and get stuck in the holes permanently. When troubleshooting your vessel for a clog, start by removing the vessel lid. Then remove the shroud lid. Next, remove the shroud. Once the shroud is removed, loosen the compression fitting at the base of the vessel. Once the vessel compression fitting is loose, disconnect the vessel from the compression fitting. At the base of your vessel spout is a ferrule. This will need to be replaced every time the vessel is taken off. Inside the compression fitting, you'll see a screen. Inspect the screen for any particles or fibers. If you see any particles or fibers, clean them out with a Q-tip, tweezers, or some fine-tipped instrument. After your screen is clean, reassemble the vessel. Remember to install a new vessel ferrule. Insert the spout with the new ferrule into the screen hole and tighten the compression fitting. Reinstall your shroud and remaining components to finish vessel maintenance. In the event your machine is not turning on at all, check your circuit breaker and outlet for power. If power is present, check the fuse, and if the fuse is blown, it's a critical fault and the machine may have an issue. To install the dual needle adapter, use your 10mm wrench to remove the Luer lock needle adapter. When removing your Luer lock needle adapter, you'll first see a spring followed by a ball bearing. This is what's called a check valve. If these fall out, they'll need to be reinstalled in this order. Ball bearing first, followed by a spring. Failure to insert your ball bearing and your spring in the proper order will cause your machine to malfunction. Next, slide the dual needle adapter intake into the dispensing hole, and use the 2 bolts to carefully fasten the dual needle adapter onto the dispensing hole.